Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. I'm playing a series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie, it is looking like it is going to storm hard. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, folks, it's a super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. Whilst I'm doing all that, folks, because, well, we all have to do it for the nookie sometimes. I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, though? Happens to be my Limp Bizkit shirt. Yeah, it's a cool shirt. I like it. Very sort of 80s, retro style. This is actually from their Loserville tour that they did in 2024, which is a weird fucking tour because it was like Limp Bizkit, Corey Feldman opened for the show. Why? I know he had to pay his way to get in, but, yep, there's the rain. Okay, we're gonna... But anyway, if you're unfamiliar with Limp Bizkit, they are a nu metal band that at one point were basically one of the biggest bands on the planet throughout like the late 90s, early 2000s. Things kind of faded out as the nu metal scene kind of died down, but they've had a really cool resurgence in the last few years, and I was fortunate enough last year I got to see them perform live. I actually do have videos of their performance that I attended. Those videos are on my channel, just in case maybe you want to check them out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to kind of point you in the right direction as far as their music goes, because, I think they're fucking awesome. Let's do it all the way then. Anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? The height of professionalism here on the Sampler Platter. I wanted to have the windows open because it's warm. Anyway, so yeah, speaking of warm, you know what helps when things are warm? A nice, cold, refreshing beverage. And what is quite possibly the best cold, refreshing beverage? Well, folks, it happens to be, boom, root beer. Ha ha ha. And if you watch my channel, you already know I love root beer. I, in fact, have an entire playlist called Root Beer Reviews, which is just a playlist for root beer reviews. And, well, today, I'm trying out some Shasta. Yeah, man. So, let's get a thing for the thing here before I do this. So here's the thing. Shasta is like a, fairly decent sized brand, right? They have like a bunch of different sodas and stuff. I really have never had much encounter with it here in my life in Illinois. I don't know why that is exactly. I don't know if it's like just, a reach thing or maybe just, I just don't run into it. But like, I never see it anywhere. But about a week ago, I was out at Menards of all places, which is a chain of hardware stores, and they have like all kinds of food and other stuff and things there, and they had Shasta, and they had a bunch of different flavors, but I figured I gotta go with the root beer because I'm this guy. So let's try out some Shasta root beer. Ooh. Hopefully this will be a great experience, and it'll be all the more reason for me to try some more of their flavors. Let's give it a go. Ooh. Oh, that's nice. Very smooth. It reminds me... Let's see if I can get a open the door a little bit, because it is really goddamn hot. Reminds me a little bit of A&W. I'm already super sweaty. Reminds me a little bit of A&W in that it's definitely like a sweeter root beer. But there's some richness there that I really like. Because, I like A&W. It's fine root beer for what it is, but it's not my preference when it comes to root beers. I tend to prefer, like, root beers a little bit harsher. Like Dad's or Barks or, going into, like, more of the independent root beer scene. So when it comes to, like, the more commercial root beers, it's like, what am I going to get? You know, is it going to be more along the lines of like the mug and the A&W or the bargs and the dads? This, I would say, it leans more towards the A&W and the mug, but I do think that this has, I don't want to say a little, I don't want to say more going on for it exactly, but I like what it's doing a little bit more than I do, especially over like mug. Mug is fine in its own way, but like to me, it's just very one note. This has a little something going on to it. I like that it's got some richness to it. Has a little depth to the flavor. I like the way that drinks. And yeah, it's not like it's still a sweeter root beer, but it's not like so sweet that that's all I'm getting. Because again, like, you know, not to dunk on mug again, but I'm going to dunk on mug again. That's kind of like what I get from mug, is it's like it's just, you know, straight sweetness. This though, it's nice. I like it. I wish that this had been a more commonplace thing, you know, around where I grew up. Yeah, because it's got a little edge at the end, and I really like that. You know, like, I mean, look, I'm not going to go over there and say this is like a holy shit amazing root beer or anything. You know, I wouldn't put it, again, you know, with like Barks or Dad's, you know, which is more my preference. But this is a solid root beer. Like, I didn't know, you know, because again, I hadn't had Shasta before. And when you have companies that do like a lot of flavors, you always have to be worried about, you know, are they going to focus and actually, you know, put out good flavors and not just a lot of them. But no, I would say this is a damn fine root beer. You know, like I can get down with this. So, oh, I like the way that drinks. That's got a nice texture to it. You know, that's good, man. Yeah, okay. Well, two questions have to be asked though. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Third question: will I review more Shasta flavors? I mean, the answer has to be yes, yes, and yes. I think for me personally, you know, like I said, I'm not going to go over there and blow smoke up its ass and say it's the greatest root beer I've ever had. It wouldn't even rank. But for being a nice commercial root beer, again, on the sweeter side, I can get down with it. Like, I genuinely, you know, I think the fact that it's got a little bit more going on for it than, again, some of the other sweeter ones, you know, and like I said, I really like the way that it drinks. It's a rewarding root beer to drink, and I think that's, you know, root beer should taste like that. So for me personally, like, yeah, it's not going to replace any of my favorites, but fuck it, if I'm out at Menards, and to that end, like, yeah, if this is what they're doing with their root beer, I need to go over there and try out some of their other stuff. So let me know, by the way, if there's any specific Shasta flavors you guys want me to try out. Let me know. And if I'm recommending it, like, yeah, I am going to recommend this. This is actually a really easy recommendation because I recognize the fact that while I like a harsher root beer, the majority of people do not. The majority of people prefer a little bit softer root beer, you know, and that's fine. That's their thing. This, I think, works within that category, but at the same time, I personally think it offers up a little something extra that may or may not work for you. But I think worst case scenario, if you are more that A&W and mug type of person, it's not going to be off-putting towards the overall flavor. It's too hot! If it's raining, it should be fucking at least cooled down. I hate the summer so much. 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there and have yourselves a truly root beer-tastic rest of your day, because, folks, when it's root beer, it's always root beer-tastic. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do can't do it all the time. I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and, yeah, just bullshit sometimes, folks. When we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there, whenever possible, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, like I said, if you're, for one thing, if you do have Shasta in your area as like a regular thing, let me know where you're at. I mean, you don't have to be specific or anything, but, your general region. Because I'd be interested to kind of, see exactly where that falls. And moreover, like I said, if you've got a specific Shasta flavor you want me to try out, hit me up. Let me know. I only have what's available to me through, like Menards, unless I can find some other place. But, at the very least, I'll try to get in some of the other flavors. Anyway.